The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Learn About Law. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law, and today we're going to explain preliminary injunctions and temporary restraining orders. Both a preliminary injunction and a temporary restraining order are equitable remedies. There's a distinction between a legal remedy, which is essentially money damages that are paid for an injury that was caused by the defendant, and an equitable remedy, which is basically anything other than money damages. So a temporary restraining order or a preliminary injunction are both injunctions, and what an injunction does is it's a court order that requires the party that's subject to the order to either do or not do a particular thing. So injunctions, like all equitable remedies, are only granted if there is no adequate remedy at law, and that's legal speak for money damages would not make the plaintiff whole, basically, for whatever they're trying to accomplish with the injunction. So with that foundational knowledge about injunctions out of the way, let's talk about what the difference is between a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction. So when you're in a case that involves these, usually often the end game of the case is to get a permanent injunction, something that's permanently preventing the other party from doing or not doing something. Sometimes it is money damages, but usually the end game is a permanent injunction. The issue is that it can take a long time to finish a court case to get to the point of getting a permanent injunction, because you have to have discovery, a trial on the merits of the case, depositions. So in a court case, you might go for a year or longer before you get to the point where the court can have the full hearing on the merits at which they're able to issue the permanent injunction. So a preliminary injunction, basically you have an abbreviated hearing. You still have a hearing, but there's the understanding that not all the facts have been gathered yet. And the preliminary injunction will last from the time of the original hearing until the case is decided on the merits, and then it will either be dismissed or turned into a permanent injunction. A temporary restraining order is intended to bridge the gap until you can get to the preliminary injunction hearing. So a temporary restraining order, unlike a preliminary injunction, which can last for the duration of the case unless it's appealed, a temporary restraining order will last for 10 days maximum, and it can either be renewed or hopefully you have the preliminary injunction hearing by that point. So the big difference between a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction, other than the duration, is that a temporary restraining order can be issued ex parte, meaning that in certain emergency situations where there's no time to give notice to the other party at the hearing, the court can issue a restraining order without notice to the other party. And so the way this often works is in emergency situations, you'll have a court case, you'll have basically an emergency court hearing where the temporary restraining order is issued, and then a court date will be set for a preliminary injunction hearing, and before that time, the person who is seeking the injunction will have to give notice to the other party of both the existence of the temporary restraining order and of the hearing for the preliminary injunction. And then if the person seeking the injunction wins at the hearing for the preliminary injunction, that'll stay in place until the entire court case is completed, discovery, hearing on the merits, and then either a permanent injunction will be entered or the case will be dismissed along with the preliminary injunction. So what does it take to get a temporary restraining order or a preliminary injunction? It's the same four factors for either one. If you're seeking a temporary restraining order without giving notice to the other side, in addition to these factors we're about to talk about, you also have to demonstrate that notice to the other side is impractical or not possible given the emergency situation. But let's talk about the four factors that you have to show if you're seeking a preliminary injunction. The first factor is that you're likely to succeed on the merits of the case. So this is almost like trying a regular case. You have to show the evidence that you have at your disposal and prove to the court that if the case goes to trial, more likely than not, you will be the winner. The second factor is that you are likely to suffer irreparable harm if the injunction isn't granted. So this is going back to money damages again. You have to show that if the injunction isn't granted, whatever injury you're going to suffer can't be resolved through money damages later. It's irreparable harm if the injunction isn't granted, because courts would rather let the situation play out without the injunction and just grant damages through money later on in the case. The third factor is the balance of the equities, and this is the most slippery. This basically means that if the court is wrong on either granting or not granting the injunction, you as the plaintiff are going to suffer more damage if the court doesn't grant the injunction and they're wrong than the defendant would suffer if the court does grant the injunction and they shouldn't have. So you're basically weighing the hardship of each side if this preliminary injunction is entered or not entered in error by the court. And fourth, and this is a slippery one too, you have to show that it's in the public interest to grant the injunction. So the type of behavior that you are trying to stop or require is the type of behavior that the public benefits from stopping or requiring. So that's really what you need to know about preliminary injunctions and temporary restraining orders. If you have any questions, you can give us a call at 630-324-6666 to schedule a free consultation. Or if you have a question you just would like answered that's general and not specific to your case, you can leave it in a comment below the post at learn-about-law.com or below our YouTube video. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud. And thank you so much for listening.
Thanks so much for watching our video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Click the subscribe button for new videos every week, and download and review us on iTunes. Visit learn-about-law.com for other legal-related articles and videos. Visit our business podcast and video blog, seizeyourbusiness.com, and visit Making Real Estate Fun for real estate videos and podcasts. Call us at 630-324-6666 for a free consultation.